Welcome to the Kerri Lane Show. I'm Kerri Lane. You can probably tell I've lost my voice a little bit, so please bear with me today, but there is so much news that I want to get you caught up on. So hopefully it will hold up for the show. We've got tons to dive into today, from Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth firing back at the calls for his resignation to a jaw-dropping video involving the Tesla Terrorism Task Force. These people are absolutely nuts. And just wait until you hear about the shocking new revelations surrounding the controversial judge behind those turned around deportation flights. Trust me when I say he is truly the gift that keeps on giving. But before we jump into all of that, the DOGE team is sitting down for their first ever interview together, and they're on a mission to shut down these lies that are being thrown their way by the left. Watch.
It's absurd that Elon Musk is trying to eliminate billions of dollars from Social Security.
Elon Musk and President Trump have set their sights on cutting Social Security.
Their goal is clear: destroy Social Security from within.
Where are they even getting these wild accusations from? No facts, no substance, just pure rhetoric. So for those of you out there that are still concerned, here's Elon Musk's crystal clear promise about Social Security.
What we're doing will help their benefits. Legitimate people, as a result of the work of DOGE, will receive more Social Security, not less. I want to emphasize that. As a result of the work of DOGE, legitimate recipients of Social Security will receive more money, not less money.
All right.
I want to emphasize that point and let the record show that I said this, and it will be proven out to be true. Let's check back on this in the future.
So if Elon and Trump aren't destroying your Social Security, who is? Fraudsters. The DOGE team has learned that calls pour in daily with people trying to change other people's direct deposit information. This problem is actually bigger than you may think.
We learned 40% of the phone calls that they get are from fraudsters.
40%?
That's right. Almost half.
Yes, and they steal people's Social Security is what happens. Is they call in, they say, they claim to be a retiree, then they convince the Social Security person on the phone to change where the money's flowing. It actually goes to some fraudster. This is happening all day, every day. And then somebody doesn't receive their Social Security. It's because of all the fraud loopholes in the Social Security system.
It is amazing that the left is spinning this into an attack on Elon when the real problem is criminal activity. That's what's jeopardizing your money. But thankfully, we've got people working on solutions to protect your hard-earned benefits moving forward. Now, while we're on the subject of Elon, the Tesla Terrorism Task Force has made some serious progress in catching those responsible for destroying Tesla vehicles. Check out this 33-year-old lunatic from Texas. He was arrested for felony criminal mischief after he rammed his four-wheeler into a Tesla Cybertruck. He did this in a restaurant parking lot and then pretty much did the same thing in a Lowe's parking lot. Next up, 36-year-old Paul Kim, arrested in Las Vegas and facing 15 counts, including arson, destruction of property, and possession of an explosive device. Get this too, police say that they got a DNA match and footage of him using a rifle to shoot out the surveillance cameras before going on the attack. Now here's the message Elon has for those he says are truly responsible for these heinous attacks.
The real problem is not the people. It's not like the crazy guy that firebombs a Tesla dealership. It's the people pushing the propaganda that caused that guy to do it. Those are the real villains here, and we're going to go after them. And the president's made it clear we're going to go after them. The ones providing the money, the ones pushing the lies and propaganda, we're going after them.
Now, building on Elon's point about the media fueling insightful rhetoric, it's telling how few prominent figures on the left have spoken out against this behavior. I can actually count them on one hand. That says a lot, doesn't it? I mean, Republicans, when they protest Bud Light, they stop buying the beer. When conservatives had an issue with Target, they stopped shopping there. But the left's response always seems to go to firebombing and threats. There's a noticeable difference in how the right and left address their grievances clearly. On top of that, it seems there are two different standards of justice at play. If you've watched some of my videos earlier this week, you know the judge involved in the deportation flight controversy has strong ties to the Democratic Party. And guess what? I have uncovered even more evidence showing that this judge is clearly acting with political bias. Apparently, Judge Boasberg intentionally delayed the release of Hillary Clinton's emails until after the 2016 election. Look at this Politico article that reads, a federal judge has dismissed for a second time a pair of lawsuits seeking to force the State Department to do more to recover former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's emails. Now, this judge has been involved in every major anti-Trump case, from the Hillary email delay to ruling that Mike Pence had to testify over the 2020 election to overseeing the January 6 cases and even blocking deportation flights. So it probably comes as no surprise to you that President Trump is calling for an investigation into this judge. Trump posted this on Truth Social. How disgraceful is it that Judge James Boasberg has just been given a fourth Trump case, something of which is statistically impossible? Boasberg, who is the chief judge of the D.C. District Court, seems to be grabbing the Trump cases all to himself, even though it is not supposed to happen that way. Is there still such a thing as the wheel where the judges are chosen fairly and at random? Now, it's also worth noting that the far-left CEO of NPR, who was in the hot seat the other day, is also chair of the board of directors at the Signal Foundation. That's the app that has Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and others in hot water. Coincidence or just convenient? I'm going to let you decide on that one. Now, speaking of Hegseth, he fired back at his critics over the Signal chat leak, writing this on X. So let me get this straight. The Atlantic released the so-called war plans, and those plans include no names, no targets, no locations, no units, no routes, no sources, no methods, and no classified information. Those are some really bleep war plans. This only proves one thing. Jeff Goldberg has never seen a war plan or an attack plan, as he now calls it, not even close. Now, this whole situation is just wild, right? We've got the left calling for Hegseth's resignation, but when you look at the facts, it doesn't add up. Sure, Goldberg shouldn't have been in that private chat. That's a huge mistake and needs to be fixed. But what was the real impact? The mission was a success, and not one American was harmed. Contrast that with what happened under Biden and then Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. 174 mostly unanswered direct strikes on U.S. troops, which had these ramifications.
U.S. defense officials now reporting at least 45 U.S. service members may have been injured in drone and rocket attacks on bases in Iraq and Syria. It's nearly double the original number, and we're now hearing some of them may have been seriously hurt.
Biden's Pentagon wasn't forthcoming with the correct numbers initially, and it wasn't until later that they finally acknowledged that 109 troops had actually been diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury due to these attacks under Democratic leadership, and nobody was asked to resign. And then who could forget the disaster that was the Afghanistan withdrawal? Billions of dollars worth of weapons left behind, and 13 U.S. soldiers killed in that tragic bombing at Abbey Gate. Did the left demand accountability for that? Not that I can recall. How about when Secretary Austin had surgery and no one knew he was even missing? I want to know who was monitoring his phone while he was in surgery, because military forces were on high alert at the time while they tried to deter Iranian intervention in the Israel-Hamas war. Did the left insist he resign after abandoning his post? Nope. But now, a private Signal chat with no information on targets, no reference of time, etc., is suddenly a national crisis? In my opinion, the real security risk was this for 4 years.
How many times do you have to prove we can't be trusted? Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years. I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. We're going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky.
It is tough to take the Democrats seriously on accountability when they spent 4 years telling us that the man you just saw on your screen was sharp as a tack and full of energy. And yet they had no problem with Biden's classified documents casually lying on his garage floor, or Hillary Clinton using BleachBit on a secure server. In my opinion, the Democrats are just grasping at straws and desperately trying to create a scandal wherever they can just to take the negative attention off of them. Is it working? I don't know, remains to be seen, but I don't think it appears to be at this point. Now, for more on the activist judge we discussed and the credibility of the Atlantic reporter who was included on that controversial chat thread, I want you to click on the next video that you see on your screen because I think you're really going to enjoy that one. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me today. And as always, I appreciate you tuning in and have a great rest of your day.